Hello and welcome. This is the final video for the night. I do a lot of them, but given the fact that the viewership is low, I'm really mainly doing this for myself and anyone else that this may help, especially for this one. All risks, all bets of the like within each one's own risk reward. And for me, the only question is how much do I risk, and do I play with the 10% number that I'm working on with my spreadsheet right now, or do I lower it a little bit? It's a pretty high volatile number, but I think it's relatively safe long term. Anyway, we'll get to that in a little bit, and even on other videos. This is October the 16th, 2018 results, NHL point spreads. I've calculated them all up to this date. And what I'm looking at is the Pinnacle closing lines, and I'm looking for home underdogs, home favorites on the money line or the point spread. So Dallas at New Jersey. New Jersey was a favorite, -1.5 plus 212. So therefore they won that, given they won 3-0. This game here, Philadelphia was on the puck line at plus 226, but they only won by a goal, so they lost. And then Pittsburgh was plus 119, and they lost. And then we had a situation where the road team was the favorite, so that doesn't count. Colorado was favored on the road against the Rangers. Then we had Tampa Bay plus 180 on the puck line. It won. Then Edmonton against Winnipeg. That was a loser. As was Minnesota, because they only won by one goal. And then Vegas on that night covered at plus 141 against that of the Buffalo Sabres. Now, these are the tightest lines you're going to get, so the results at other places would be a little bit worse. But they would still be profitable. It's been very good thus far. And I've done all the results up to October 16th, which means I've got the next half of October, all of November, and all of December so far to go through. I still have a lot of games to go, taking home favorites only. So therefore, taking the results from here, I can say go to the next day. I got it set to load. It didn't do it. Let me just try it one more time, because this should work. And there we are. So here's October 17th. So what I like to do is, this is what I've done before, is I just put in the price, whether it won or not, 0 or 1, and then the date. And I put this in for my spreadsheet. So it's a lot of manual work, but I think it's worth it given the risk versus the reward that I talk about. So I can hold this up like this, and even I'm just going to move this like this so I can, I don't care who's playing who in this, I just want the mathematical numbers. So therefore what I would type is well, the first one we have -0.5 plus 116, so I type 116. It was a loser, so I put a 0 in, and the date for this is the 17th of October. The next game, we see another favorite, 262. That's a loser. And then we have 246, which was a winner. And then we had 194. So that was a winning day, big time. So the information I'm going to show you is only going to go up. I'm curious to see what it looks like. How's that December 23rd? And how's that April this year? Or next year, rather. So this is the stats that I put in. I got October the 1st, which was the first date, or would have been the 3rd, rather. And then every single one in here, just the plays. This will be the chart. There'll be a chart at the end. So this goes all the way again to October the 16th. I can copy and paste this, or cut and paste it, into here. And then I use formulas, not many. In here, this is going to determine how much gets risked, because if I'm going to risk 200, if it's a plus 246, I take 100 divided by 246, and that's the percentage of a unit I risk. And on the negatives, you risk 1 unit. So I'm going to copy and paste this down below here, and And then in here, this is for day purposes, because in reality, what happens is you're going to be betting 10%, but on the date of October 16th, your balance was 192, which meant 10% worked out to 1926. Right now, the balance would be 202 at this stage, and therefore 10% of that would be 20. So I'm just going to have to take these formulas here. I just need one of them, actually. How many? This is to this line. Okay, so now let's copy and paste this down to here. Copy and paste this. With one more. All right, so 216. This will be up over. This is the chart. Let me just scale it so you can see the whole thing. Give me some more days to it. Or days, periods. Actually, yeah, I guess days. This is what the results would be. Doing 10% a day for just the first couple of weeks of this season. I'll probably be done the whole up to now. I'll be done probably by Christmas Eve. Most likely tomorrow, for that matter. It won't take me long to do the rest of the year. Early on, though, you've seen this is the risk of betting this high. You would have started going from 100 basis points down to about a little over 60, so it would have lost less than 40%, but more than 30 at one point. And here we've seen it go from 210 down to 180, so there was a loss of 15%. So how much one decides to risk on this, I'm going to be playing it. Again, I don't know how much a risk I'm going to take, but I'm only going to presume that this is going to continuously stay solid. Of course, am I just going to do this simple, just take the home underdogs? No. I'm going to look at every game. I can bet any team to win by 2 or more. So therefore, I will look at the ones that should do so more than other. I probably will not play as many road teams as I would home teams, as I've been showing on the results before, how home teams are doing so much better at covering a spread of 2 goals compared to that of the road foes. All right, so that will be the conclusion for this one, and I'll be continuing this on. Again, this isn't for myself, but I know if anyone's interested in this, so far, it's looking to be a very good strategy, and it's all mathematical to be in your odds if the bookmakers do not adjust, and it might not be until later on in the season. Hockey's a game they don't spend too much time looking at, and with playoff football and basketball in store, I don't think we're going to see any sudden changes. And I'm getting 30, 40, 50 views on this video. I don't think anyone's going to be a bookmaker that's going to be like, hey, we got to change this because some random guy who does Fibonacci charts and Bitcoin and all this stuff is pointing out all this stuff, all this mumbo-jumbo nonsense, which confuses me to why they haven't figured out why stats like this are actually happening. So I'll conclude this forward and see how this does up to now, because this is not that big of a sample size, and yet it is. And what do I mean by that? It's not that big because it's only the first couple weeks of October. And yet, if you can have 70 plays do this, you're starting to get a decent sample size as far as variant betting. Because if you're in a game where you are a long-term loser, like a slot machines, and you barely play at all, you have a much better chance of being ahead of the game with those who play more often. And if you're playing a game where odds are in your favor, the longer you play, the more often you're going to win. So therefore, one way of putting that is, if you're a professional card counter and you only play decks of high values, if you've only played, say, 20 of those hands, you have a much better chance of being a loser than playing 200 hands. So having this many and having gains, and most likely we're going to see a lot more plays, of course, as again all of November, the rest of October, and pretty much all of December now as we're heading into the 23rd day. Thank you for tuning in and have yourself a great day. Bye bye.